back to another video game analysis. And today we are talking about shovelware. And we touched upon this when we talked about the licensed games, but there's always topics I want to go back to look into a little further. So this is one of them. So this is going to be a little weird because last time I talked about shovelware, it was in a video about licensed games. But now I'm talking about licensed games in a video about shovelware. So, yeah, how about that? So yeah, originally I wanted to, this happens to me sometimes, originally I wanted to play, for this part here, the game, I don't know if kids know this anymore, the Magic School Bus game. It was an educational game, it was really bad. This one, it does look good in some parts, the level design's awful, though. Yeah, so I think it's a good example of a bad shovelware license game, and we talked about this in another video, but I'm sorry, it can't be avoided. A majority of shovelware are licensed video games. In fact, the next game I'm showing is also a licensed game, but I'm showing it for an entirely different reason. Now, this game, it has enjoyable aspects to it. Like, for one thing, it does look like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like, you can appreciate that they took advantage of the fact that they're building this game for a 16-bit console, and I think 94 was an early year for the game this was released was an early year for the Genesis. But you know, I guess the budget went to the looks, right? Yeah, because the level design is weird. It had some good ideas and all, but overall, shovelware, in you know, just as a quick definition, is games made clearly for the purpose of making money. It's something that was shoveled out really fast, and we explained this before, but you know, there's a little more to it than just simply making bad games for profit. So like I said, most of the games are licensed because licensed games make licensed products like Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes makes money. It's proven. It's time tested. So what they ended up doing is they saw that video games make money too. So they hired people really quick. Said you have to get it in by this time. They might want a shovelware licensed game to come in at the same time the movie comes out, or maybe the same time as some new book or property, or maybe just before Christmas time to make some money. You know, it happens. That's why a lot of people would argue, even though it is a AAA produce, or whatever that means, produced game, like games like Sonic 06 or Rise of Lyric might be shovelware games, but you don't know the full story. The point of this video I want to make today is shovelware is a little more confusing. It's a lot more of a loose definition than people give it credit for. Like, it's kind of a taken for granted thing. When you talk about shovelware, it's usually given to games that are bad. And there are different ways people categorize it. It's not just for licensed games like many people think it is, or mostly think it is. Like, I know people are aware of that, but you know, the whole idea here is when a bad game comes out, usually the reason is because people just want to make money off of it. So they worked on a low budget and sold it as much as they could. To put it simply here, this game, it's just the level design ruins the whole thing. It's like they're trying to go for an action side-scrolling platformer thing, and like maybe in ways they're copying Mega Man, I want to say a little bit, that kind of action platformer style game, or you know, but it just doesn't work out. So yeah, when talking about licensed games, I want to make that the huge focus here. Like with licensed games, we talk about there's gonna be a lot of parallels here. Like with the licensed games video, I wanted to show that it is a more elusive definition. Like, it's not set in stone. And I think the perfect example, at least for games I have in my library here, would be another licensed game. But you know, point is, it's arguably a shovelware game. Like, maybe it's just a game that people gave it the title because they didn't like it themselves. So yeah, unlike the Magic School Bus, this is a series. This is an old series. I know people still know because not only is it still is being made, you know, rebooted or whatever you want to call it, but it's the Turtles. Turtles rock, you know. They're in movies right now. They're still in video games. They're in comic books. They're everywhere. But the point here is, this is a game that you know, especially with the likes of the Angry Video Game Nerd and all, you know, they showed off as really bad. Personally, I like this game. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any stretch. I do find it relentlessly difficult, and of course I never beat it before, but the farthest I ever got was like stage 3. But I found enjoyability in this game, and you know, despite the fact that the enemies in this game and aren't very, like, they're not from the '80s show that this is claiming to be a part of and all, but you know, apart from that, I mean, I think there is merit to this game. Like, for an NES title, though, I want to make that very clear. You know, for the game made at this time, if this was like a, you know, if you want to like bump up the graphics or whatever you want, like the idea of this game being made today, yeah, this would be not that great. But you know, I personally find enjoyment in it, and that brings me to my point of, would I call it a shovelware game? I don't know. You know, there's always many stories about the development. Like, if you look at the development cycle of Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric, you kind of feel bad for the developers because they did try to make a great game. The ideas for a great game, but other mediums and other people got in the way, and there was this whole problem with they had to, like, all of a sudden shift to a totally new software engine that they, hardware, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, that like, they had to switch from a game they designed for PC, Xbox, you know, and PlayStation to the Wii U, which they couldn't do, you know. And, you know, in the end, it's like, it was harebrained, it was ridiculous. So you don't really know the story of how people were feeling when they made this game. Like, personally, I'm sure the people who made this game, with what little resources they had when it comes to making a Ninja Turtles video game with a long play time, you know, interesting and fun. Like, I do have problems with the enemies myself. That's a common complaint. Like, these are not these enemies in this game I would not think of at all when it comes to the Ninja Turtles. I'm sure whoever made this game used old assets they never used, like, from an old game, and just plastered in here so the Turtles had something to fight. I don't know. And there's many ways this game would be better, but I just want to raise the point that people can find shovelware games good, and you know, that goes for any shovelware. Even like, if that last game I showed you like, that's cool, you know, that's fine. It's just, I want to make the point of, it's all subjective, and you know, if you do like that last game, that even helps my point here even more. And then here's this old trick you can totally cheat at beating Rocksteady here. So nice and cheap. Donnie's actually my favorite turtle to play as, but you know, like, there is some cool aspects of this game. Like, I kind of wish you could have, like, revived the Turtles. Like, I can go on and give you a review of this game, but I think my point's made pretty clear. So, yeah, let's move on now to beat level 1 and show my skills. Okay, so I can't make this clear enough. The next game isn't black and white. There were technical issues. Like, remember, okay, so here's the point of telling you that the Taz game was originally going to be a Magic School Bus game. That happens to me. Sometimes I just can't get a game to work, or in this case, I've been recording a lot of my Retron 5 lately, and that couldn't recognize the game, and I was upset. I was like, oh, this is such a good example, because, like, anyone can say this is bad. Like, unfortunately, the Taz game, some people can probably think that's good, and, you know, what are you going to do, right? But the next game, I had to have. It didn't recognize on the Retron 5, so I'm like, okay, gotta bust out my Genesis and get this to work. So the way I record Genesis, long story short, I have to feed it through a box to make it an HDMI. So for some reason, I only tried this on my GameCube so far, which worked perfectly, but trying on my Genesis, I don't know. I tried everything. I didn't try more than one game. I probably could have, but point is, Bubsy 2 is the next game I'm showing off, and it's all in black and white. I just want to explain the story and why it's black and white, and I want to make it a point as well, for the video's sake, that I had to put this game in, because it's such a perfect example of shovelware. So yeah, technical difficulties, and made it black and white, but you know what? It had to be here. Bubsy is the perfect... Wait, let me look for the title screen, for the dramatic effect. Bubsy is the perfect example. I think a lot of people know who Bubsy is if you watch YouTube for a while, because everyone makes fun of his games. But mostly it was Bubsy, the 3D Bubsy game for the PlayStation 1, because it was just that abysmally horrible. And it wasn't even textured. It was lazy. I wish I had that game. Unfortunately, I don't. But I think Bubsy 2 is just as good to show off. It's the only thing it's probably good for. This game, the whole Bubsy series as a concept in general is just, hey, Accolade, what's up? We're Accolade, and we want a Mario and Sonic of our own. And what they did was they shoveled out this totally obnoxious cat because they thought, you know, it follows all the the stereotypes of what kids love in video game characters. It's just ridiculous. It's trying to be Sonic the Hedgehog here and with Bubsy 2, and a lot of people are surprised Bubsy 2 existed, but that's how hard they tried to make this work. And there's other examples like this. I just wanted to show a definite example of a shovelware game. I wanted to show that shovelware games are not just licensed games. This is his own original idea. It started out as a video game. There's other examples too, but that can also be argued for good. Like one game I wanted to show off, but unfortunately I lost, was the Carnival games for the Wii. And the Carnival series is like, they also had like other like knockoffs of that because it made money. It was a collection. It was just one of the many mini game collections that used motion control for the Wii. But I guess it's just good to make a little tidbit that I wanted to add that in. What are you gonna do, right? Like, I can only have 3 bits anyway. But man, this game is confusing. Like, that's one thing shovelware games, especially old side-scroller ones, all have in common. It's like, where do I go? What do I do? Like, I couldn't even figure out this. I didn't even notice Bubsy was on the left of the screen for so long. And did you notice? No, you were looking at the moving thing at the bottom, right? Because compositionally, that's where your eyes are drawn to. So I got the idea that I had to get the frog in the things, but I'm like, why is this even here? What kind of bonus game is this, Like I don't know where I'm going. I managed to beat the level if you keep going right, but I guess the game design was trying to tell you to encourage you to explore everything, but then they made like you can just go right as long as you keep fighting your way to go to the right, you win. I mean, I don't know. The whole idea of Bubsy is just the epitome of shovelware, and that's why I'm so happy. And like, this looks like it was made in this looks like it's like a 1932 cartoon. I'm sorry for that, but I have to make the point here. I needed this game to be in the video. I tried so hard to get the color in. I don't know why this wasn't working, but hey, at least it's upscaled to 720, right? And it's running at 60 frames. Well, not really, but I have a. That's how I'm able to record this. Anywho, before I go more on technical stuff you don't care about, let's talk about Bubsy, which you don't care about. Yes, here, this is confusing. Like, I thought this was like a bonus thing, but it was the way to beat the game, to beat the level, and then I couldn't find a way to get to the next level. And let's just finish this video. I think I made my point. So that's everything, guys. Yeah, next time, let's do something a little more newish, I guess. I want to talk about Pokemon Go. It's been a whole year since Pokemon Go came out, and I, for one, am also a player myself. And I want to talk about my take at least, and I'm going to try to be as subjective as I can, and try to reach all people's opinions as much as I can. I want to talk about the Pokemon Go fandom, as well as the Pokemon Go phenomenon that slowly decayed. We're gonna talk about. I want to talk about a little historical thing. We do a little historic analysis. Yeah, you know how it works. So yeah. If there's anything I missed, if there's anything I got wrong, if there's anything you would like to add to the conversation, please do not hesitate to leave a comment. A like and a share would be cool too. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Billy, your video game analyzer. Have a good day, good night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you next time.